We're starting off with Raw, where Seth Rollins retained the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Jinder Mahal, but the Architect had to be helped to the back and was seen limping. Clearly, Rollins suffered some kind of injury during the show, and an MRI is scheduled to take place, but the early prognosis doesn't look good for him or WWE. That's because when Wade Keller of PW Torch asked his WWE sources, they wouldn't comment. Well, if the injury was no big deal, they'd likely be eager to say that the champion is fine. Keller speculated that WWE could do a storyline about Rollins' injury, since the fans already know about it thanks to social media, but that hasn't been confirmed at this time. We don't know when Rollins will wrestle next, but this past year has certainly been an impressive one for Seth, who was voted Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Wrestler of the Year. This is another huge accolade for Rollins, and while Seth was no doubt hoping to win the same award for 2024, his future in the ring is increasingly uncertain. One superstar who did speak to Keller admitted that they don't think it's looking good for Seth, and that their gut instinct says he's injured, but perhaps Rollins will work through the pain. After all, Rollins was able to finish the match with Mahal and was walking on his own backstage after the show, so it's not like he can't put any pressure on his leg, which is a good sign. With that said, even this source wasn't going to rule out that this situation could get worse, and with WrestleMania 40 closing in, an injury is the worst case scenario for Rollins and WWE. What we do know is that he won't be participating in this weekend's live events as originally planned, and the chairman has been replaced by Randy Orton at these shows. This is another bad sign for Rollins, and how concerned are you about Rollins' knee injury? Is he going to miss WrestleMania? And what do you make of Orton replacing him? Let us know below. On this week's Dynamite, Penta El Cero Miedo and Commander squared off against Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, but this wasn't the match fans were originally going to see. A video posted on AEW's social media before the episode revealed that the original plan was for Best Friends against Lucha Bros, but neither Chuck Taylor nor Rey Fenix were cleared to compete. In the video, Trent Beretta mentioned that Chuck Taylor's injury was more severe than anticipated, and Chuck himself stated that his ankle was jammed up. Despite this, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta would pick up the win in tag team action, and the International Champion was confronted by the Undisputed Kingdom after the match. The faction have its sights set on Cassidy's title, and a title change may be in the works, but for now, we're wishing Rey Fenix and Chuck Taylor a speedy recovery. Earlier this week, Grayson Waller and LA Knight headed to Waller's native Australia to hype up next month's Elimination Chamber event, and the pair of superstars had some fun down under. We've already covered Waller confronting a TV show host and protecting the business, and some Australian fans had some fun at the expense of LA Knight. In an old video from Met Stadium in New York, Knight can be seen throwing the first pitch in an MLB game, and two fans from Australia had some serious hate for the Megastar. The two made it clear that they'd prefer to see Grayson Waller, and one even went as far as to call Knight a Ted after making his throw on the field. Knight laughed in a big way, as Grayson Waller said that was the greatest video he's ever seen, and we're sure the fans will be a lively bunch when WWE heads to Perth next month. When Nick Aldis joined WWE as the new general manager of SmackDown, fans immediately assumed that the 37-year-old's in-ring career had come to an end. Aldis is a former NWA and TNA World Champion, and though it's been some time since he laced his boots, don't count out a match from the authority figure. Speaking to Alex McCarthy of Mail Online, Aldis was asked about potentially wrestling for WWE one day and said, "Anything's possible in the WWE. I deeply appreciate all of the fans who keep me alive in that regard, who want to see me in the ring with this person or that person. Since my interaction with Roman, that started a whole different conversation in that regard. I'm just grateful that there's an interest in it. At the same time, I'm fully committed to being the best general manager of all time, so I'll cross that bridge if I come to it." Aldis was also asked about who his dream match would be, and wasted no time in mentioning John Cena, as he explained, "I watched Money in the Bank. I particularly remember John Cena coming out and saying that we needed a WrestleMania to take place in London. And I will say this, if that were to happen, which it will, I'm very confident of that, I don't have any intel on it, but you don't say something like that without there being intention. If that were to happen, I would certainly do everything I could to be a good fit for that show. It all comes down to timing and opportunity and what the fans want to see, and if the fans want to see it, the opportunity is there and it's good for business. Never say never. Only time will tell if Nick Aldis wrestles in WWE, as he's expressed no intention of hanging up his boots for good, and the SmackDown GM remains in phenomenal condition. What's your take on Nick Aldis wrestling in WWE? Let us know what you think in the comments section. It's been close to 2 years since the New Day were last together on WWE programming, but recently the trio of fun-loving superstars reunited on the Drew Barrymore show. Big E took to his Instagram and uploaded several photos of himself alongside Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods as they were part of an upcoming episode of the show. Big E remains out of action due to a potentially career-ending neck injury, while Kofi Kingston was also written off TV recently, but it's great to see the three reunited, even outside of WWE. Video game news now, as following the success of 2K22 and 2K23, WWE wants to keep the momentum going with WWE 2K24, and this week saw news about the new game. On Twitter, the official WWE Games account shared an image of a coffin, as well as the date of January 22nd, teasing that some news or announcement is coming this Monday. The coffin and purple lighting makes it clear that the Undertaker will play a role in the game and could be the focus of the announcement, but could there be more in store for the dead man? Some have also speculated that a tease this close to the annual Royal Rumble event could be a hint of the Phenom in the men's match, which would be a huge surprise. With that said, we should make clear that there's no reports confirming The Undertaker having any role at the event, whether it be in the ring or not. And what does he have to do with WWE 2K24? We'll just have to wait until Monday to find out. Yesterday, we reported on Kevin Scampoli, a podcaster who, in addition to finding the idea of sexually assaulting Mercedes Moné hilarious, recently hit out at Brody Lee's widow, Amanda, as a bad mom. Now Scampoli has targeted another woman, this time Kayla Braxton, who recently fired back at someone who was saying all sorts of horrific things about her. In a post, Braxton would encourage fans to be great little detectives and find out more about this person, adding anyone who feels this brave deserves to be treated as the scum they are. That fan would message Scampoli, and the pair would find this situation hilarious, with both calling Braxton a dumb rape baby in another horrific comment. In response, Braxton would tweet saying she's not sure how someone could be so miserable to go on a public platform and say such vile things, adding that all she has for him is sympathy. In another tweet, Braxton would share an excerpt from her upcoming autobiography and speaks candidly about being born while her mother was behind bars. Braxton adds that her mother didn't always walk the straight and narrow, but she was always great with her family, before discussing the incident that led to the vile comments from the two men. Braxton writes about her mom breaking probation to visit a boyfriend, only to find out that his attempts to meet up was a ploy that'd allow his friends to have sex with her against her will. That was the night Braxton was conceived, something she wouldn't learn until the age of 12, and despite this difficult start, the petite WWE personality has gone on to be a huge success. Scampoli may find the notion of sexually assaulting women to be hysterical, but judging by the comments on his tweet and Braxton's, it's clear he's in the minority in this view. Meanwhile, Braxton will continue to appear in front of millions of fans around the world as part of the biggest wrestling company around, and Scampoli's vitriol is not going to damage her career. When it comes to women's wrestling in WWE, one of the greatest ever feuds was between Bayley and Sasha Banks in 2015, which saw the role model capture the NXT Women's Championship. The two would later become allies and tag champions, and while Banks is now outside of WWE as Mercedes Moné, Bayley is confident that a rematch will happen with her friend. Speaking with Sports Illustrated, Bayley spoke about Mercedes Moné while reflecting on their classic NXT TakeOver Brooklyn match in 2015. She said, "We'll always be destined for one more match. We're going to live on forever because of that match, and it's something we can carry on forever." Destiny or not, one more match is easier said than done, especially as talks between Moné and WWE broke down last year, and it's believed she could be AEW bound. Nevertheless, Bayley hopes to see her friend as a WWE superstar again, and would you be interested in such a match? Give your thoughts in the comments section below. Over the years, AEW has amassed an epic roster of talent, and this week, Lucha Blog reported that AAA talent Black Taurus has agreed to a deal to become All Elite. The report further states that he may have to alter his in-ring name owing to legal issues over the ownership of the character, but this news has left fans very excited. One fan simply called for Tony Khan to give Taurus all the belts he has, while others suggested potential feuds such as Black Taurus vs. Hangman Page or Black Taurus vs. Roosh. With the possibility of a name change, one fan suggested Dark Taurus, while another considered Taurus' name in Spanish El Toro Negro, and another simply added that he was a nice pickup for AEW. Until AEW themselves confirm the signing, any reported plans in AEW should be taken with a pinch of salt, but it may not be long before we see much more of Black Taurus on AEW programming. Since 2007, Kazuchika Okada has risen through the ranks of New Japan Pro Wrestling to become one of the company's biggest ever stars, but as the adage goes, all things must come to an end. In a statement this week, New Japan announced that Okada is set to depart the promotion when his contract expires, which it will on January 31st. As a sign of respect, Okada will still appear on February 11th in Osaka, February 23rd and 24th in Sapporo, but will be gone for good after that, and his impending departure has had fans talking. On Twitter, fans expressed their shock over his sudden exit, with some confident that he's coming to WWE, while another added that WrestleMania 40 should be where he makes his debut. One fan simply added that they hope he doesn't just go to AEW, clearly believing that he'd not be utilized well in the All Elite promotion, though we're sure others would think different. It remains to be seen where Okada eventually ends up, but his New Japan exit is a surprising development in the wrestling world, and fans will be following his next moves very closely. At Noah the New Year, Kota Ibushi suffered an injury in his match against Naomichi Marufuji, and after the match, Ibushi was seen struggling to stand on his feet and was rushed to the hospital. This past Wednesday, Ibushi had surgery for his injury, which was a tibiofibular ligament tear and a right angle lateral ligament complex, which will keep the AEW star out of the ring. On Twitter, Ibushi added that the ligament was entirely torn and his leg is entirely immobilized, and added that his shoulder is also in far from perfect condition. Ibushi plans to use this time off to fully fix all these issues and apologized for any inconvenience, and said that he has a lot to think about and decisions to make. While the surgery will keep Ibushi out of the ring for quite a while, he will have the support of AEW and his fans, and we're sending the popular wrestler all the best on his recovery. It's been over a year since Mandy Rose's final match for WWE, and ever since her controversial release, fans have been wondering if she'll wrestle again. During a recent episode of the Power Alphas podcast, Mandy Rose expressed uncertainty about a potential return to WWE, admitting she can't say for sure that she'll return. With that said, Rose wasn't ready to close the door just yet, adding that you never say never in this business, but right now, she has exciting plans and a wedding to prepare for. Rose added that if she was to consider a return, it'd be for the fans, as she knows her fans miss her in the ring, and she misses seeing them as well. With the fortune Rose has amassed via her website, money certainly wouldn't be the main reason for her return, and would you like to see her back in a WWE ring? Let us know down below. At Hard to Kill, TNA officially relaunched after years as Impact Wrestling, and the rebrand has been a massive success so far. As part of the relaunch, TNA has created newly designed championships for all their title holders, but have now brought back their iconic Cross the Line theme. The theme will be used for TNA's weekly Impact show on Access TV going forward, and judging by the response online, this is another well-received call by TNA president Scott D'Amore. Ahead of this week's Raw, Tony Khan had some choice words for WWE and the booking of Jinder Mahal, which only earned the AEW president a lot of heat and mockery from fans. Some even accused Khan of being a hypocrite, considering that he has pushed talent into the title picture from seemingly out of nowhere as well, but Samoa Joe simply isn't bothered. Speaking to ESPN, the reigning AEW World Champion was asked about Khan's latest outburst and said it had nothing to do with him, and dismissed the backlash as a cute little debate. As for Joe, he's more focused on his title reign, which is off to a strong start after defending against Hook this week, as the veteran will do his talking with his actions in the ring. In 2020, WWE introduced the Retribution faction, which at the time drew comparisons from some fans to Antifa, who were a factor at the time as the US was experiencing a period of civil unrest. Decked in all black, the comparisons were obvious from the get-go, and according to former WWE superstar and Retribution alum Mace, the WWE's creative team drew heavily from Antifa. In a recent interview with Wrestling News, though, Mace explained that when the group made their presence felt on SmackDown, WWE's broadcast partners at Fox weren't happy. Fox immediately told WWE to put a stop to the angle, which proved difficult as WWE had already invested considerable time into the storyline, and changes had to be made. After Fox's demand, the group quickly donned comic book villain-esque masks, and the members would adapt names fans would mock, including Slapjack and T-Bar. Within a year of their debut, Retribution was done, and for those at Fox, they couldn't wait to see the infamous group consigned to the annals of history. Before the Day 1 edition of Raw, it seemed destined that Cody Rhodes would dethrone Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, making up for his heart-wrenching loss in SoFi Stadium. That was until The Rock returned and teased coming for the head of the table, leaving many wondering if Cody will have to sacrifice his seemingly destined spot for yet another year. While speaking with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, Dustin Rhodes shared insights into his relationship with Cody and is seriously hoping his brother finishes the story. He said, "I hope Cody's got the main event spot against Roman, or it's going to be The Rock. If it's The Rock, I'm pissed. This is Cody's time. He's becoming the face of the company and it's paying off. But I get it, if it is The Rock, it's still good business. I understand that there are a lot of people who love seeing The Rock, but I still think it's Cody's moment." Dustin isn't alone in his assertion, as many believe Cody deserves this over The Rock, not just because he did the favors last year, but because Cody, unlike The Rock, competes for WWE each week. On the other hand, Rock Reigns is perhaps the biggest match WWE could do, and one that fans are also eager to see. And who do you want to see against Reigns this April? Let us know below. Since coming to AEW, Adam Copeland has been feuding with Christian Cage, resulting in a handful of matches between the two, but some of Copeland's other opponents have left fans scratching their heads. On the January 6th episode of AEW Collision, Copeland's open challenge was answered by Griff Garrison, and he has also competed against Lee Moriarty. While Copeland is clearly trying to elevate younger stars, some have been critical of Copeland not going after bigger names in what he knows will be his final run in the ring. On Busted Open Radio, Adam Copeland shared that he's still thoroughly enjoying himself and that he wouldn't be wrestling the likes of Garrison or Moriarty if it wasn't fun for him. Having fun is a chief priority for Copeland, who hardly needs the money AEW is paying him, and he's happy to be in the ring with younger talent. Will Copeland work with the likes of Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, and MJF one day? It's possible, but for now, the Rated R superstar is happy to give the younger stars a chance to shine. And we're ending today with TNA Wrestling as at Hard to Kill, fans caught their first glimpse of Ash by Elegance, aka Dana Brooke, whose new ring name took many by surprise. On Busted Open Radio, Elegance explained her new ring name and said it's a different side to her from what fans have seen, but adds that she tries to live a super elegant life. Ash went on to say that she will bring that element of elegance into the ring and show everyone what class and elegance truly means, and we won't have to wait long to see her in action. The former WWE star will be competing at the January 20th tapings in Orlando, Florida, though at this time, no opponent has been announced. Ash by Elegance is ready to do big things outside of WWE, and that likely includes capturing the TNA Knockouts Championship, and we'll have to see how she shares her elegance in the months to come.